Let's apply what we've learned about linear functions to a realistic example. Jane's weekly pay is $500 plus a 15% commission on her weekly sales. Before we can apply what we've learned, we need to write a linear function that expresses this. So we want to write a function p for weekly pay in terms of her weekly salary x. So p depends on x. It's going to be her commission plus her base pay. Her commission is 15% of her weekly sales. So 0.15 multiplied by her weekly sales, which is x. Her base pay is 500. And so there is our linear function. Notice it's in the form y equals mx plus b. Now to answer some questions about this situation. What is Jane's weekly pay if her weekly sales are $2,500? In terms of our function that we just came up with, this means we're trying to find the value of our function when the value of our variable is $2,500. So algebraically, to do this, we simply substitute 2,500 in for x into our function definition. Now, we need only perform the calculations, and we'll have the answer. 0.15 times 2,500 is 375. And when we add 500 to that, we get 875. So what does that mean? That means the value of our function is 875 when the value of our variable is 2,500. Our function is her weekly pay. Our variable is her weekly sales. So Jane's weekly pay is $875 when her weekly sales are $2,500. That's what that means. Now let's ask a different question. If Jane's weekly pay is $1,025, what are her weekly sales? This is different from the previous question, not only because we have a different dollar amount, but because what we already know is her pay and we want to find her sales. In the previous example, we knew her sales and we wanted to find her pay. So what does that mean? That means that x, our variable, is not known. What is known is the value of the function. The function value is $1,025, her pay. So we substitute that into our function equation. 1,025 equals 0.15x plus 500. And so now, instead of simply performing the arithmetic to find the value, we're going to have to solve this equation. So we'll get 525 equals 0.15x. And dividing by 0.15, we find that x is equal to 3,500. And what that tells us now is x is her weekly sales. So her weekly sales are going to be 3,500 if her weekly pay is $1,025. And that is the interpretation of what our answer means. And that's how you use linear functions to answer questions about real situations.